I know a lot of you guys and gals are gonna be wondering why I'm moving away from this Holley harness. And the real reason is, welcome back to the channel, back from the GM tailgate tour, and it's time to get back on my 67 C10. Now, if you guys and gals remember, I was supposed to take this truck on the tailgate tour, but we had a slipping 4L60, so I put a rebuilt unit in from Summit Racing, and once I got it all put back together, the truck would crank but not start. Now, this truck has the Holley Terminator X Max wiring harness in it, and after talking with a bunch of you fine ladies and gentlemen on the tailgate tour, and y'all sharing your experiences with me and the Holley ECUs, I think it's time we make a change. Today we're gonna rip out the entire engine and transmission wiring harness and install this new setup from PSI Conversion. They're known for wiring it up and firing it up. So hopefully we'll be able to get this truck fired up and back on the road. Now this is gonna change the way I mess around with this truck. The Holley system comes with software you could just download from the internet, plug right into the truck, and you can do some basic tuning right off the rip or do some basic tuning from the LCD display. But now that we're going with a factory style setup, I'm gonna have to get some type of tuning software to be able to dial this in. But I think what I'm gonna do with the truck right now is get it wired, fired up, and driving again, and then take it to a professional tuner to get it dialed and cruise around with it just like this for a little while. I do have some big plans for this truck down the road, but we're not there yet. The shop is a freaking mess right now. I just was trying to thrash on this before the tailgate tour, and I just haven't found the motivation to clean it up yet. Got a nice little sticker pack here from them. That's pretty rad. I haven't gone through this yet, so transmission control, brake switch kit. Let's see, we got some new grounds, assuming a holder for the computer. Let's see, I'm sure this is, there you go. There you go. There's your computer. Some O2 sensors. Map sensor. Oh, look at that nice bracket right there. Probably for the fuse panel. We got that. Now the cool thing about PSI is when you're ordering your wire harness, you can go through and select a whole bunch of different options. Something I don't have on this truck right now is cruise control, and I'm gonna add that with this kit. Not exactly sure how that's gonna look yet, but I'm going to. And the first thing we gotta do, well, is actually set this aside and rip out the wiring harness in the truck. Been doing a lot of snipping, getting this thing ready to come out. So on this truck, this hole right here is actually where the original shift linkage came through for the clutch. Well, I'm gonna hang on to this and send that ECU off to see if it can be repaired, because I mean, I think it's still a usable harness. It's just, I just need something more reliable. Got her all yanked out of there. Looks like a pile of spaghetti or something. Got the new harness out and just kind of taking a look at it, getting it ready to go in. You know, I'm not gonna lie, when you're first really starting to do all this wiring stuff, it's actually, it's really intimidating, but it's not super bad. You know, these companies have a ton of support, and they have a lot of very clear instructions on how to lay this wiring harness out and get it to work on the first try. Well, I say that, but we'll see. So PSI recommends to go through the passenger side, drill a 2-inch hole somewhere in there, and then, you know, start running your harness and all that stuff. I'm gonna try to go through the existing hole on the driver's side, right there where we were with the Holley harness. It should work, but, you know, I mean, we'll see, because I don't really want to start drilling a bunch of holes in the firewall, because we already have a massive hole right there, so let's use it. Well, I'm feeding this harness through this, this hole, see if this works. They already have a grommet installed, so when you do drill that 2-inch hole, which is about what this is, you'll be able to, you already have something there that's gonna seal it up, which is really nice, because the Holley harness did not have that. Also, we're gonna have to run this, the actual ECU in the cab of the truck. So we got to figure out where we're going to mount that, since it's going to be different than the Holley system was. And we also have to figure out where we're going to mount a new fuse block, because again, I keep comparing this to the Holley because that's literally what just came out of here. But the Holley system just kind of had some fuses and relays in line, but the PSI harness has it all has it all mounted in one area. And they actually give you and you could actually order a mount for that to help with the install. So I got that, and I got everything basically ready to hook up. I mean, I'm hoping this will just be a plug and play deal. Oh yeah, also the Holley system runs on one O2 sensor, and this PSI harness, since it's a factory style setup, it has two O2 sensors. So I mean, that definitely helps with making sure that the motor's running right and all that stuff. Or engine, I'm sorry, it's not a motor, it's an engine. I don't want you guys to freak out in the comments. Okay, so let's go ahead and start kind of figuring this out. So the PSI harness isn't really labeled. The way you tell the difference between the right and left side is the right side has less connectors. Let's do that. All right, I have to add the map sensor. The Holley system originally had an intake air temperature sensor, which is this guy right here. So I'm just gonna leave this in place. I'm gonna throw on this map sensor, which came with the kit. Oh wow, might have to cut that off a little bit. All right, gotta switch air filters here. This one's a little bigger, so I'm gonna have to cut some off of here. About right there to start. And that should be okay. There we go. That'll do. I got all that stuff connected over there, and just trying to neatly run this harness where it's got to go, you know. We'll turn this a little bit. Got that right there. Yeah, we just come down here, connect the coil harness. All right, so we got these injectors hooked up. We got to do a ground. Got to install our O2 sensor. I got to run this harness down to the transmission. And these are going to go to the battery. So we'll have to extend these because our battery's over there. And then we can start hooking our wires up to the Dakota digital gauges. So in here we got coolant temp sensor, we got oil pressure, the tach, you can do the speed, and all that information was provided to the Dakota digital gauges by a bus interface module, which is actually right over here. So the cool thing about Holley is you can get this Dakota digital bus interface module, and it'll pull information from the Holley and display it on the gauges. So it really cuts down on all your wires and stuff that are running under the dash. Well, I guess not a whole lot. It kind of cuts down on the wires running under the dash, but I mean, PSI gives you the wires right there to just plug right in. Well, we got to figure out, number one, where we're actually going to mount the computer. So I'm thinking this is the mounting bracket. I'm thinking we may mount it like right here, fasten it to the firewall somehow, and have the connections come in right here. I mean, because we got plenty of lead, and we can, you know, tuck the wire up in the dash so we're not interfering with any of our brakes or throttle. And then we got to find a spot for this, which is the fuse panel. Really tight in here, so I can't really get you guys in here to show you what I'm doing. Here's where our harness is coming into the truck, and I reused this clamp to help hold the wire harness out of the way. So it looks like I'm gonna put this bracket potentially, again, it's really hard to see, but somewhere in this area for the fuse panel. You can see that. And then I'm gonna run the actual ECU, looks like right in this area. So what I did was drilled a couple holes to match the mounting bracket they give you. And I'm just putting in these nut certs so you can screw right in. I mean, it's not ideal because you can see them from the engine bay right here. But honestly, I can't weld on the firewall right now. If I redo the truck, I want to redo the firewall, and then I'll be able to, you know, lay this out a little better than this right now. But right now, I'm really just focused on getting it going and functional. Also want to show you guys something else. So I had a shop wire this truck up a few years ago, and I just don't like the way that it's done. So, I mean, I'm probably going to rewire this whole truck because I feel like, you know, if you're rewiring something, it really needs to be like nice and neat and not just like an absolute mess. Sometimes it's really tough to figure out what's going on with the electronics in this truck because of that. I can't really tell where the harness is going, and it's kind of split up and tapped into. The connectors that were used weren't what I would have used. So that might be a future video when we go back into tearing this thing apart for race truck stuff, and that's rewiring this sucker. But right now we're just focused on getting this motor running because I want to do some burnouts in this thing. Probably shouldn't be doing burnouts in it, but I can't help myself. Again, I wish I could bring y'all in there with me, but it's just so tight that I really can't. And I mean, you can imagine what I'm doing, right? Just kind of, here's where the harness is gonna lay. So like, let's just put everything where it's gonna reach. I think I got everything basically routed in the engine compartment. Ended up running those battery leads to the starter per the instructions. I was gonna run them straight to the battery, but just as good, right? Over here, I got, I think, all the Dakota digital gauges hooked up. Now, I did notice in the instructions it said that the lead for the coolant temp sensor and for the oil pressure sensor only works on 98 to 02 F bodies. So we'll see if we can get that to come around on these gauges. Obviously, they're not in right now because I'm getting ready to hook the battery back up to see if this sucker is gonna catch on fire. All right. Battery's hooked up. So I also got my OBD2 port mounted right here. That'll be quick and easy to access. There's 3 wires I got to hook up down here. These 2 red ones need to go to a keyed 12-volt source, which is why I'm hooking up the battery. And that purple one needs to go to the purple wire coming out of the main PSI harness. That's the brake control. So when you push the brake, it'll pull the transmission out of lockup if you're in lockup. So let's turn the key. Okay. So usually the fuel pump kicks on. Did some digging and I missed a ground, so let's see if that does it. Nope. Oh, so that's weird because the fuel pump was not wired to the Holley harness. It was wired directly to the fuse panel, but as you can see with the wiring that I got going on, got my work cut out for me. Figure out what's going on. Let's see if it'll crank over. All right. Oh, also did not connect the computer. PSI was very adamant about not connecting the ECM when you first connect the battery. Now, I remember when I got this truck back, some of these wires, man, it's just like, it's super, a lot of these connections are just really loose, and I've gone through and tried to tighten them up as much as I can, but I just started messing with the wires back here, and check this out. Fuel pump's on. Now that the fuel pump's running, I can go ahead and hook up those 2 wires to a keyed 12-volt source, and then I'll connect the ECU. See if this thing can fire up for us. All right. Let's make sure we're in park. I got those keyed 12-volt wires hooked up. Just hooked up our ECU. I think I got everything pretty much ready to go. I'm trying to think. I got everything hooked up in the engine bay. Batteries hooked up. Power to the ECU. Got the gauges hooked up, which I don't have them installed right now. I just want to see if it fires. All right, let's see if it goes. Park. Nope. Well, it usually helps if you hook the spark plugs up to the coil packs. Make sure we're in park. No, it's not gonna go. Well, I started looking around here and running through some potential issues. So obviously, like, you know, you got to make sure everything's connected, everything's got good power, good grounds, all that fun stuff. So I was thinking good power, like it's got to have power when it's cranking. So I have 2 accessory ports on my fuse block. So I connected both to one, and when I went to fire the truck, the accessory power cut. So I did this with a test light. Just like hook it up to a ground, shove it up in there. If it lights up when you're cranking, it's got power. So one of them didn't, the other one did. So I just did the old switcheroo. Make sure we're in park. We don't want this to run away in the shop. Oh God, please work. Well, that did something. Oh yeah, brother! Yeah, brother! Oh, now it won't shut off. It just shut off on its own. Must have had a lot of fuel in them cylinders. Let's fire it up again. I don't know if we got oil pressure or not. I'm sure we do. Key off. Huh. Yeah, that's weird. That's weird. Well, I pulled my really high-tech code reader out, and look what we got. Camshaft position sensor A, circuit low bank 1, or single sensor. So we definitely got an issue with the camshaft sensor. I went back through the wiring harness and we just double checked all my connections, and it looks like I had the map sensor and the cam position sensor. So make sure we're in park. Oh, that's much better. All right, let's shut it off and see what happens. Okay, like, isn't that weird that it doesn't just shut off? Like, that's cool. That's a lot better. Key off. Key's out. I gotta double check where that keyed 12 volt source is and make sure that it's keyed 12 volt, because it kind of feels like it's continuing to run until all the fuel in the cylinders are depleted, because the fuel pump shuts off when I turn the truck off. So, all right, let's double check this real quick. Y'all see my test light here? I don't know what you're looking at. Yep, that's exactly what it is. All right. Let me try this again. I gotta find a different key 12 volt source, because one's keyed 12 volt, but it's not on when it's cranking, and the other one's constant 12 volt. Okie dokie. Got a new keyed 12 volt source that's on when it's cranking. Sure, in park. Yeah. That's it, brother. Yes, sir. All right. Now I gotta put this all back together. We gotta see if actually I'll go ahead and plug up our gauges, see what happens there, and then I'm just gonna grab those real quick while y'all are sitting here. So we're not gonna hook up our turn signals yet. I just want to see what kind of information we're getting. All right, no oil data, IV. Check engine light, no oil pressure, coolant temp sensor's not working. All right, there's a couple different settings we can try. Worst case scenario, I still have all of the wires that came with the Dakota Digital gauges. We can run those separately for the gauges if we need to. No need yet though. Let's go ahead and set this guy down. Okay. And park. No tack signal, no oil pressure. Okay. Well, let me do some diving into this. I want to get this dialed in before we take it out on the road. This is actually from the Dakota Digital gauges when I did the install on the RTX gauges a couple months ago. Dakota Digital does a really good job providing you with all the fittings that you need. I mean, I already have the oil pressure sensor, which is what this is. In the back of the block, just got to hook the wire up. So, I mean, the biggest thing I got to do is put in this coolant temp sensor, which is actually going to be, if you see that little fastener right here in the back of the block, if it'll focus. This is actually where the coolant temp sensor is for the ECU for PSI. So I'm just gonna hook that one up right there and then run both the oil pressure and coolant temp sensor lines into the cab.
I just said in my lap.
I don't think so. I think it is off.
Is it pitch? It's blackened.
Oh, it's recording. You've been recording.
At least, nobody's watching us right now.
Well, when we put it on the internet, they're gonna watch us. Whoa. So we got a 3000 stall in here now. Before it was just like a factory one. What's up, buddy? Oh, we got a motorcycle over there, huh?
Not cooler than this thing.
Nah, dude, no way.
No way. This thing is better than a motorcycle.
I'm gonna try to not beat on it. Oh, there's the other spring.
Bing.
I mean, feels good, feels smooth. Transmission's transmitting. Brakes work.
Oh gosh.
Ready?
Maybe.
Oh, she cut off on me.
Wait, is it off?
Oh, it was in gear. Ladies and gentlemen, it took a couple of days to rewire the motor and transmission of this truck. And after I get her tuned up, she's gonna be ready to rip again. So I'm trying to get in touch with a local tuner who could just give me a base tune, because I don't really need anything fancy yet. I wanna do some more upgrades to this truck later on down the road. Right now, I just wanna enjoy it and drive this thing around every day. It's got everything I need for it to be a daily driver. And that's really what I want to get out of it. Now, I know a lot of you guys and gals are going to be wondering why I'm moving away from this Holley harness. And the real reason is, after spending some time on a GM tailgate tour and talking to a lot of you guys and gals, a lot of y'all shared your experiences with me and the Holley ECUs. They're very temperamental when it comes to voltage spikes. And when you're running something that you need to road trip across the country, I can't have something that's temperamental like that. These harnesses that are from like PSI, for example, are a GM-based harness. They use a GM computer. And let me tell you, those things hardly ever goof up. And if they do, they're gonna be a lot cheaper to replace than a freaking Holley ECU. When I was looking at the cost of the two, this harness for Holley came in at about $1,700 or $1,800, and that's with a small display. That's not even with the big boy. Now, the same harness from PSI with some upgrades to it, like cruise control and a couple of other goodies, that's about $1,000. And when I was looking at just replacing the ECU on the Holley, that was gonna be another $1,000. But I am still gonna hang on to that Holley harness because I'm gonna try to send it off to get repaired. And hopefully, if I'm able to get it repaired, I'll use it in another project because, I mean, guys and gals, everything's just so dang expensive nowadays. But I wanted to put a wiring harness in here that's gonna be tried and true, tested, and when I call them with issues, the company that I bought the harness from, they're not gonna be like, well, we don't know what the problem is, click. I know the guys and gals over at PSI are gonna take care of me if I ever run into any issues. I really want this channel to be focused around the mom and pop shops that make the automotive community awesome. Yeah, Holley's a huge conglomerate and they own like, what, 60 companies now or something crazy? And dude, you're just a number to them. But when you deal with a company like PSI, it's just a small town company up in New Jersey. Dude, every sale counts to them, every customer matters, and they really want you to get the best out of their products. So that's why Yeah Buddy Garage is gonna be focusing more on the, I don't wanna say smaller companies, but I would say like, not the corporate conglomerates that you're used to hearing about on a lot of these automotive channels. We wanna give back to the companies that really are the glue that hold this automotive community together. And that's another reason why I'm starting to move away from bigger companies like Holley and all the companies that they own. It's nearly impossible to fully move away from that just because of how much they own. But at the end of the day, if I could help out a local company and help grow their business, I'm 100% gonna do that, especially if they have a killer product. Anyway, guys and gals, if you're doing an LS swap on any of your projects, hit up PSI Conversions. They are going to have exactly what you need to wire it up, fire it up, and get your car or truck going on down the road. As always, I appreciate y'all hanging around and watching this video. I'll see you in the next one.